we're going to see if it works. So I'm kind of excited about it. I'll turn my volume down here. What is today? Today's Saturday. My goodness. It sure has been a time, hasn't it?
It has.
It's so good to see you again, my friend. I can't believe if you can hear that, that's my daughter's puppy. He's massive. He's 9 months old, and he's one of those, are they called Belgium Malinois? It's like a German Shepherd, but like
Yeah.
he's going to be bigger than a German Shepherd.
Wow.
So, my goodness, it looks like we made it live onto Facebook. So,
Hi, Facebook.
hey guys, it's Chastity Ann and Kaisa Rose. We haven't been together in such a long time, and bless her
Like
heart.
almost a year.
Has it been that
Not
long?
really, but sort of.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding. I guess you're probably right. It's been about that amount of time.
Yeah.
And wow, that's amazing. So we're just going to, I guess, shoot the breeze, shoot the shit, because I just said, hey, I'm trying out Restream. I've been having a lot of issues when I go live and trying to get on to different places, and nothing had been working. And so I decided to go ahead and give this a shot. And I said, are you available to go live with me? And she's like, sure, why not? So actually, Kaisa, we've been having really great conversation about some of the things that you are doing currently in your life around manifestation. And with this 11/11 portal opening and everybody talking about this and the energy getting just more and more intense, giving us the opportunity to manifest faster, like in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just share some of the ideas of the classes that you're slowly working on as you're working on putting your own manifestation together? Like, how is this coming about for you?
Sure. Yeah, let's see. So there is an echo coming through yours. I don't know if you want to mute. My brain's like already distracted. Okay. So basically, the way that I've subconsciously manifested my whole life is that, the second that you decide, maybe like this job just, it's fine, but it's not what I really love. And I think I would really love to do this. And once you really make that decision, your whole frequency shifts to start moving into alignment with that. So, things might start to fall away, and it might not happen right away. It might take like a month or something. For example, I was living in Seattle. I was like, oh, I really want this new car. I want this new car. I want this new car. But, I don't have to make payments on my car. Like, I have a car. It's fine. But I really want this new car. So someone hits my car and puts my car in a state of disrepair that I don't feel like fixing. And I'd rather just trade it in and get the new car, So like, it's things like that. And what has recently happened to me is I don't remember who it was, but I just like, I was feeling inspired seeing other creators online and seeing that it feels like there really is a place for people like us to exist on social media and be recognized and have a sense of community, where we're not being like pushed out because, we just don't get along with the algorithms and the energies and the matrices. So I, just really came into this feeling of, I want to really step into being a self-sustaining, spiritual practitioner. I don't want it to just be this thing that I sort of sprinkle on the side anymore. Like, I really feel like this is my calling and this is something I want to do. I want to make it happen. I've started dreaming about this now. And I made that decision. And like the next day, 2 people out of the blue, I didn't advertise or anything because I haven't been offering services or anything for about the past year while I recovered and just focused on myself after getting sick.
Can we just, after you got the big C word, which we still have to make mugs for that, by the way. I survived.
We do.
Yeah, I survived mugs or t-shirts. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, after the big C word, the new one, not the old one.
Not the old.
The old one you can say now, the new one you can't.
Isn't that crazy? Oh, goodness.
Times are changing.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I was like, you know what? I really want this. And what really kicked it off was I had a dramatic healing of self-worth and self-love in the month of October. So going into the month of November, I was like, oh, I finally have self-worth. Yeah, no, I think like I can take on this next thing. I think that this is my next step. You know, this is who I'm supposed to be in life, and I finally feel worthy of it.
Mhm.
And practicing like the law of assumption, that you assume that identity, you assume that energy of the person you want to be. And then boom, the next day, two people message me to book a session. I didn't even realize I had offered that on my website. Like I have not looked at any of this, for the past year. And I was like, oh wow, look, that's a sign. And then 2 days later, something not very fun happened at my normal job. And I was like, oh yeah, I this is not going to go well. This
Mhm.
is falling apart now. I can't stay here. And it's just been a step-by-step journey of feeling supported energetically, and the old mentalities, scarcity, imposter syndrome, or self-worth, coming up. And it's like such a back and forth, because one second I'm like, no, no, like this is my journey, this is my path, my mission, I'm here, I'm supported, I have faith, I trust. And then the next second, old stuff is bubbling up to be released, and I'm in this like totally different headspace of worry. And oh, maybe I should put all this energy into something that's not what I need to be putting my energy into. And it's just been like a back and forth. Having the support system,
Mhm.
knowing that I am my own support system too, and loving that my support system just reminds me that I have the answers, even if that's an uncomfortable feeling. Sitting in discomfort and letting it pass, while the process of aligning into something new when you're making a big jump is very uncomfortable, is the short
Yes.
version of that. So I the things that I am following, the things that I have started doing, based on advice or coaching from other people, I'm putting into my own practice of what feels right in terms of manifesting. And I want to share that with people, because like it gets, when you have such a big goal, it's daunting. You think like, well, how am I going to get there? And maybe you can think 3 months out. You're like, well, in 3 months I want to be there, but there's still like, what are you going to do tomorrow to get there? What are you going to do tonight to get there? Next week. So helping break it down and make it more tangible, easier. That's what I always strive to do with people, is just breaking things down, making it easier. Feel like it's within reach and something that you can do.
Make it make
And
sense.
I always have to learn that lesson myself first. So
Yeah, I think that, since we've been in such, well, not dire straits, but people are being forced to make decisions that they don't want to make. We've talked about this. Many people talk about it. It's on all the platforms. Anything that we have to say isn't going to be different than what anyone else has to say. But what is different is that each and every one of us experiences the same thing differently. And that's one of the things that I love about having uh, community and having these kinds of chats, because while one person may be sharing their story and what they do to get through these times, and trust me, this is going to go right into the manifestation that we're talking about. What one person may talk about, it might not resonate, and they might not they might not make the connection. Like, well, that's easy for you because maybe you have a grandma that gives you money, or well, that's easy for you because you don't have any kids. And so there are lots of different ways to look at that. And you and I are in completely different circumstances. I have 5 kids. At the time that all this stuff started, like, all of my children lived with me, my adult children all the way down to my little. And it was a huge change. And I could have chosen to live in scarcity. But it's one of those things, like you're saying, like, you just don't have a choice. You want to make a decision, and and move forward. So instead of acting as if the circumstance has happened to you, create from that. Now that you don't have that job, or now that something happened and you're having to move, or whatever the case may be, or you've always had the dream that you wanted to go live somewhere else, to do something else, allow that to be part of your new plan, the part of your new manifestation plan. And I think that instead of being a victim of the circumstance and getting out of this victim mode, is what can we do today? What can I do in the next hour that is going to change my trajectory into the life that I want to live?
Yeah, yeah, because it's really, I've been learning so much about holding the frequency of what you want. And I saw something on Twitter. Someone said, manifesting becomes so much easier when you realize that you're not actually creating an entire reality. You are just aligning yourself to exist in a reality where that already exists. And I was like, oh, that
Wow.
does. It makes it so much, it makes it feel so much more tangible, to understand that this already exists. It's just a matter of the moving pieces. I feel like, like one of those Harry Potter movies or something where, like you're on a platform and, everything is just sort of shifting around. You're trying to go through this weird maze to get to the other end, to get onto the other side of this challenge. And it's uncomfortable because you look and you're like, well, it should be a straight line, or you have all these ideas of how you can get there. And for like myself, I'm always like, well, this could happen overnight, so why doesn't it? And it's like, no, you have to grow and change. And, 3D timelines are what they are, and they're out of your control. In terms of the path that you use to get there. But then some people are really good at sort of creating the script of their life for how they get there. I know some people do it like that. They say, I want this thing, and then they sort of write it like it's a play. This is how I'm going to get there. That I'm not good at that part. I'm good at because I just want to skip to it. I'm going to skip all the work. So I say, this is what I want. And then once I start feeling moved, it's like, just hold on and take everything that comes, which is difficult because, you want to control, you want to be 10 steps ahead, and you can't. You're just in like the fog of war, and you can't see anything except for what's right in front of your face. And it's on the other end, and you don't really need to worry, but you're a little worried.
Yeah, a lot worried. Some really easy things I remember from when I was studying, and I had to learn all the muscles and all of the nerves and all the different things when I was in school to do massage therapy. I put all kinds of Post-it notes everywhere for reminders, and it is amazing what those did for the retention of my goal. How am I remembering something? How does it stay in my mind, trying new things? And when we're really tired and we don't feel like manifesting that day, kind of have a backup plan, I think, like putting a little Post-it note up to remind yourself that even though you're tired today, you're still going to be thinking in your new, in a new pattern. You're still going to do one little thing. And I think you sent me a gal one time. I wish I could remember her name, but I watched her manifesting thing, and it was amazing because she used water. And I like to talk into my water. I tell my water, I love you, you're beautiful, because that's what I want to ingest. I want to ingest my things. And she would code because water holds memory. And so she would encode into her water and fill up a thing. She might have even put a note underneath it for what her dream was or what her manifestation was. And she would take a sip of this water every day for like a week or however long. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's my kind of manifesting, because on my days that I'm tired, on the days that I feel like I don't want to get on the computer, I don't want write another piece, then I think that's so much easier. And I'm not one, like my classes, I mean, you took my classes for a couple of years. Every time I tried to write 3 years, I tried to write a piece, I couldn't write a piece. I could never write the classes. And so everything happens in the moment. And that's how I picture manifesting, like that next step that you take. If you imagine that you live in your dream place, that just envisioning that next step you take, that next thought you have is what I mean by that, then in that moment, you're, like you said, it's already created in the reality. So it's that assumption. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've never actually, I know which video you're talking about. I've never actually tried that method myself. And I think it was because of like, my lack of self-worth. It was like I wanted my self-worth to be where it should be, but I had a lot of just like needing to take my time, and like have those lessons come to me as they came to me. Um, but another thing is like when you're in the shower, like you become, like we love to daydream while we're in the shower. So you daydream and you become this new you. And when you step out, you're stepping out into this new reality. And so every time, you're making progress like that because, you said, I'm tired. I don't want to manifest today. Like you don't always have to be doing physical creation. Yeah, you can just make it be an energetic thing. And even when you are too tired to fully imagine, that this is who I am. Because there's this one girl on YouTube, and she's so funny. She's like, I want you to be delusional about who you are until that becomes your reality. And I thought it was really crazy. And I was just doing it just for fun, just to see, because I was like, there's probably something to this. I'm going to try it. And it awoke, this crazy month of October of all this awakening in me and all this self-love and self-healing. And all I was doing was just like feeling like I was a little crazy, being this little superstar in my own head. And it had this profound, like life changing impact, like it really boosted me in the right direction. And so it's like, we daydream, but now like pretend that that's really you and like walk around like you're the main character. That's like a huge thing that's trending. I have a whole playlist called like main character energy when I'm driving, like you really pay attention to the music that you're listening to. So many like love songs are so sad and create desperation and scarcity. It's like really difficult to try and manifest like a healthy relationship because it's so much. And like you love those songs, like you love a good sad song, but it's like, oh, I can't do that right now because I don't want to manifest that. I can't listen to this sad music. I
yep.
have to, maintain my energy. And it can just be, like an affirmation. I have like stuff saved on my phone, okay, I'll just read these 3 affirmations today if I don't do anything else. But yeah, it's just about like everything you do, stepping into that energy and being patient with the process because once you manifest in the quantum, it's there. It's just a matter of whatever needs to happen in the 3D to get you to that point. But it's there and you're going.
Mm-hmm. How do you determine the difference between living in a reality that you're wanting to project, that you're wanting to create, and the imposter spirit? So, does that make sense to you?
Like it does, but I'm not sure that I'm.
So, like the imposter spirit, like thoughts and emotions that aren't ours, that we're taught maybe in schools or by governments. So we're embodying a reality that isn't truly ours, and so where do we know then, or how do you personally like discern this is my very own thought, I've sussed this out, I've created it, versus this is what I was taught to feel and think?
I sort of pull on that thread, because I'm going through a lot of that right now because I'm going from having a normal, stable job to feeling like I just need to drop it entirely and totally, move into this new space, which like objectively to most people doesn't make any sense. But to me, it does. And it's like you take this is how I work is, I can feel energy and feel how it aligns and does not align. So I take a thought and I say, okay, what does that look like a month from now or whatever, follow it enough and then feel my energy, feel how it would feel in that situation. You can run the idea of that through your body, feel how it feels in each different part of your body. Does it feel like it's in alignment, or does it feel like the 3D thing to do? Because, as if you're manifesting on this level, you're in touch with your divine self. And so the more that you get in touch with your divine self, the more that discernment becomes clearer, I think.
Beautiful.
And the more you get caught up in some of those things, like my parents want me to be very practical with this right now. And a part of me is like, yeah, that makes sense, but like that's not fully what I'm being called to do.
Yeah.
Like maybe a little practicality in terms of, not wanting to stress myself out as much as I need to, more than necessary, but I'm not supposed to be diverting from my path. So like, does this feel like it's pulling me off of my path? Can I take small bits and pieces of that? Yeah.
Beautiful.
But what I thought you meant when you first asked the question was, if you're sort of assuming these things, how do you then go out into reality and like compromise with that? And I think it's, like if you want to be the CEO of the company you work at and someone comes up to you and says, I need this report due, and in your head, you're the CEO, you're not going to be like, I'm not doing that report. You would just, do it the way the CEO did to get to where they are, like, oh, I guess, I'll show you guys how it's done kind of thing, because I'm, important and proficient at this job. Yeah. Kind of fun because, what's happening in your head isn't really anyone else's business. Nobody needs to know how you're feeling about yourself when you walk around. So like, who cares if it's like a little delusional or a little crazy? Like if it makes you feel good and you're not, like, oh, I can fly and, walking off a cliff or anything crazy or dangerous, like it's actually harmless. And
That's me. I'm going to be like, it's just going to hurt once, right? I just started writing. That's literally been, I trust everything. When I was younger, I trusted everything to a fault, so much so that these kids had said to me, hey, Chastity, come here. We have a surprise for you. And I love surprises, right? So I go and I go over and they say, open your mouth and close your eyes and we're going to give you a big surprise, right? And I don't know, I must have been 4. Somewhere in there. So I'm really excited about this surprise. And I open my mouth, I close my eyes, and I got a mouthful of powdered laundry detergent. And I was crying. I was upset. Of course, it's just horrific to have that poured into your mouth. And then they said, I'm sorry. There was a lot of laughing. There was a lot of, poking fun at me. And then they were super sorry. They apologized. And they said, okay, we're not going to do that. We really do have a surprise for you. And I said, okay. Chastity, open your mouth and close your eyes, and we're going to bring you a big surprise. So guess who does it again? This girl. I opened my mouth to get yet another mouthful of powdered laundry detergent. And I spent so much of my life doing that until I just stopped trusting and I really shut down. And so it took so long to come back online to realize, how do I trust myself? It's about trusting me. It's about trusting my discernment and being able to read situations and people around me versus, trusting other people. It's not about, so then I went through this, like a whole nother side of it. Like, I'm not going to trust anything, which closes you down into a thing. So it was really, really challenging to find like that happy balance in that medium, and like where, how am I going to create this on my own? How am I going to create the trust on my own? How do I create thought processes on my own? How do I believe in myself enough to know that I'm not going to manifest more detergent in my mouth? So it can be a challenge. It can be a challenge, but getting to know ourselves, and every day, like you said, feel inside. Feel inside. Does this feel right to me? Does this feel like mine? I know there's really big talk now on a lot of different. It's funny that it's like really big talk now, and this is stuff like I never thought. I'm sure you never thought too. Oh, we're going to go and chat live and talk about all the weird things that people want us to shut up about. So, and so
I
now,
love it.
so now it's like everyone's talking about this stuff like it's brand new, like the voice of God technology. It's like, you guys, that is like so not brand new. But I love that it's being talked about like it's brand new. That's totally cool because people are getting it out there, and I love it. But there are a lot of things out there to think about, what's mine and what's not mine. And that the V2K technology, which is voice to skull, and the voice of God, all these other kinds of attachments that we think are crazy, like, but when you open up someone's light field, you can see it. So do you think that everybody has to get most of that stuff out of their body in order to really be sovereign? Or do you think that people can, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because, if anything is affecting you, then it's infringing upon your sovereignty. Um, it's crazy because I feel like it probably objectively hasn't been that long since I cleared like any sort of negative influencing thoughts like that, and now all I have to like deal with is like my friends and family, which is another point I want to make. But yeah, it's like when I was working through clearing out like those negative voices in my head, and I was doing all this work, and like getting healing sessions from you and realizing where all this stuff was coming from, and it wasn't coming from me, and I was having more of an understanding of who we are in terms of like our divine rights. I was like, yeah, my theory is that any sort of negative thought is not organic to, your soul and your soul's nature. Like, yeah, sure. Sometimes I'm like, you're kind of clumsy for that, but it's not the same thing. It doesn't hurt, like those other thoughts that I honestly can't remember, which is great, but it's like, once you clear, yeah, I think that you need to clear those out, and using discernment and just saying like no, because they give up eventually. And if you're watching this, you're probably getting energy healing done, and so as you grow to a point where you just can't be infiltrated in the same way.
Yeah.
Just the way things are now. You don't get clogged up in the same way that you used to with all sorts of crap in your energy fields. But one thing that I've noticed recently, being that most of my negative influence is just from external factors like people around me, is that advice is mostly fear-based. Like it's not that they're trying to hurt you, but when you think about like relationships, and you'd be like, oh, maybe just let that go, because what if he stands you up, or what if you text him that and he says, blah, blah, blah. It's like all fear of you getting hurt, or, you being rejected or anything. And it's like, we know that that's a natural part of life. And, the only way to sort of combat that is to just be more selective, earlier on when you're forming new relationships with people. But that there's really nothing to fear. If you don't fear rejection, it's not a scary thing, right? It just didn't work out. It wasn't in alignment. You can remove the fear of anything. You don't, things can still be scary, but you don't have to act and live in fear. Yeah, like, with my job, it's like, well, we want you to be, financially secure. And I'm like, yeah, but it's keeping me from, my purpose. I have to take this leap, like, I don't want that type of, well-meant, very understandable fear to keep me from, because then it's like, it's not my fear, but I'm taking someone else's advice that's coming from fear. So like, it's everywhere. You gotta
Yep,
be on the lookout for fear, man, because it's
It
a big
is.
time right now.
I think it's important. I call those like projections, or people that give unsolicited advice. It's like, I didn't, if I wanted your advice, I would have asked for it. Exactly. And hands down, I'll say I was, always anxious to do that myself. Oh, let me tell you what I would do. And it took me some time to go, why do they care what I would want to do if somebody wants to know? And then I started not giving it once we kind of realized how to come into 0 point and how to, we've been clearing all of this stuff out. So every morning we just kind of do a little look around our energy field, look in our body, make sure nothing's stuck and everything's flowing well. We can come across as drone-like or non-emotional. And don't you care? Yeah, of course I care. I'm listening.
It's like, I feel like my friends aren't sick of me because they're my friends, but it's like, my advice is now based on, well, how can you be better in this situation? Or, even in a compassionate way,
Sure.
well, let's take a look at, yes, your feelings are valid. I feel for the way that you're feeling right now. But like, let's take a look at how you contributed to this. If this is something you don't want to have happen again, because like what I did in my life was I strove to be, like perfect and, perfect my, the way I handled myself in relationships. And I was still picking people that didn't honor that. And so it's like, what's the point of me doing all this self-work if then I'm still picking people that don't honor and facilitate, that healing? So that's my advice to my friends all the time. They're like, "Oh my God, can you believe this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, look at this. Look at your actions." They're like, "Yeah, but this is crazy too." And I'm like, "Yeah, all of it's crazy." Which is okay, like it's painful. You got to learn this kind of thing. But it's like, instead of saying, well, you should do this or you should, run away from this, it's like, well, let's just take a look at, the way that you're feeling. How can we fix that in the future? Do you want to, try and work things out with this person? Do you want to practice it at another time? Do you just want time to yourself? Like what do you want? And, support them in that, instead of taking everything as like, I feel like everything looks like a drama playing out, it's like the same script over and over again instead of just getting to the root of things.
Yep. Archetypes of drama. Yep, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, my friend, I don't want to keep you on. I appreciate you popping on.
Manifesting to do.
You do have manifesting to do. I think that this worked. I think we were able to go live, and I believe it was on 2 different platforms, so that's really exciting. So I might be able to even add more if I can figure out how to do that. But what a great chat. I hope that we can just pop on. I miss doing shows with you. So
I know. Well, it'll be nice, having getting our schedules lined up.
Yeah. I think it'll be great. It'll be fantastic. Okay, everybody, thanks for popping on and listening to us talking a little bit about manifesting with Kais Rose and Chastity Ann.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.